Peggy Beattie here! Welcome to the Peggy Beattie podcast. We have a special guest today. I'm going to give you a hint who it is. Very good looking. From Canada. Perfect 18 and 3/4 inch biceps. That's right, it's Ken Harris all the way from Canada, and we're doing something a little bit different on the Peggy Beattie podcast. On this episode, we're going to interview Peggy Beattie.
Yeah, well, where's this guy that you're talking about? Because he's not sitting next to me.
Peggy, I'm over here. Thanks, Peggy, for the warm welcome.
Hi, Ken.
That was a quick episode, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, good to see you. And finally on the podcast. And I know you've asked before to have me as a guest, but I kind of thought we talked about it.
Right.
How about interviewing you?
I know, and I'm kind of excited. I've had one glass of wine, so I'm ready.
Well, I've seen you drink one glass of wine, but you were into it before I got here. So
Yes.
I woke you up on the
lied.
front porch. Peggy, I'm
Drunk
here.
and stupid.
Where's my glass? That's the first thing you said when you woke up.
What's Ken doing here?
Yeah, exactly. Is it Wednesday already?
Shit, I didn't know he was coming.
My car's been running for 24 hours. But first of all, it's great to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.
It's always great to hang out. I didn't see you for a few years with everything going on with the border, but we went up, did a road trip up to Chatham.
Yeah.
About a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. So it was great to see you perform. And then you shot across the border last night into Windsor, and you performed
At the brewery, right?
Brewing for Comedy.
Yeah, it was so awesome.
That's great.
That was an open mic with full-on people.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool was that?
And I got there on time, so you might have not noticed this, but so I get there on time, and the place is empty. The comedians are there, so all those people literally rolled in about 5 or 10 minutes before the show started.
Almost all the comedians.
Yeah. But the place was packed.
Yeah.
And the audience was there to have a great time.
They were, man.
And as usual, you had a really strong, great set.
Thank you. I do feel good about it. I gotta admit, it was so much fun.
And that's the one thing you made sure that you wanted me to mention on the episode today.
Yeah, I said if you don't talk about my set last night, you are banned.
So I asked, we had this conversation if there's anything off limits about, what I can't ask you. And can I say what you said or no?
Sure.
She said, just don't ask about how I lost my virginity. And the reason why is I guess she wants you to follow her on OnlyFans. That's all I know.
I'm on there as a virgin.
I can't come up with a name for you fast enough.
Yeah,
But,
I can't either.
so, you ready to dive into this?
I am. I'm excited. I'm nervous too, because God knows what I'll say.
Yeah.
Get ready to be canceled.
Especially with that second box of wine
Right,
you opened
I
over
know.
there.
I did. No.
So what made you? We met back in 2012.
Right.
What made you?
Excuse me.
What made you get into comedy?
Well, I always, always been kind of funny as a kid, and I loved Flip Wilson, loved Bill Cosby, loved stand up watching on Ed Sullivan. Yes, that's how old I am. And
Are these people still around or no?
no, they're all dead.
Oh, okay.
I'm next.
You climbed the ladder.
I did. So yeah, I always liked stand up as a kid, and then it was fun. I thought it was pretty funny. I did it for my 20th year reunion, and I did really well. Talking about all the people that I graduated with.
Was this before the class?
Yeah, way before the class.
So you were performing before you even took
One
the class?
time.
Really?
Yeah, one time I performed. I did I don't know how long it was. 15, 20 minutes maybe. But it was easy because it was about people I worked with or I went to school with.
So was that something, how did that come about? Did somebody approach you? Did you say, you know what, I would like to go and do 15 or 20 minutes? How did that come about?
Yeah, I asked them if I could do it.
And were you nervous, or is that just something you knew you wanted to do? And
I knew I wanted to do it. I was a wreck because I was nervous about people not being there that were part of the joke. So That's all right. It happens all the time. So that was, I didn't want to do jokes behind somebody's back. So then I had to change some things, like if someone didn't show and stuff like that. But besides that, it was pretty good. And then it just stayed in my head. And then my brother got sick, and you know how you change your views of life or whatever. And I said, "Fuck it, I'm doing it."
Yeah.
And so I took Bill Bouchard's class.
Nice. So when you did this 15 or 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
At any time leading up to this, did you start having second doubts, like maybe I shouldn't do this, or what did I talk myself into, or from when you decided to do it, it was just you knew you were doing it and you're going to have a good time with it?
Oh no, I was a wreck.
Were you?
Oh yeah, I was a wreck, and I thought, oh my God, what? And I had a few drinks too, which I don't do now.
No,
but...
not at all.
No, I don't. If it's a show, I don't drink before. But I did that night. But you know, it was my reunion too, so I was gonna have a good time
For sure.
And I was nervous, and but I did okay. I mean, I got laughs.
So you go up on stage
Yeah.
and you say your first joke or your opening joke. Did it go as well as you planned? How was the reception with it? And how did you feel at the end of your 15 or 20 minutes?
Well, I didn't get asked to prom, so that's what I made fun of. And I was, I made fun of me not getting asked to prom and telling the guys that if they would ask me, they probably would have got laid. So I was like making fun of myself because I didn't get asked to prom. I was pissed off at the guys. I did all that. So the first part of my comedy was making fun of myself, and then it just gave me license to just fucking. And I still kind of do that. I make fun of myself. I mean, it's an easy target.
Well, it's fun, and you know what? I think that's one of the things that helps you connect with the audience, because I think I've always described you, and I describe you as the aunt that everybody wants. That you can have fun, you can tell things to her, she's not going to judge you. It's just, if you're hanging out with Aunt Peggy, you're going to have a good time and you're going to have some laughs. And I thought about that from the minute I met you, and I still feel that way about you. You talked about your brother.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about that, or what happened, or just...
Yeah. He got lung cancer, and he was only in his early 50s. Yeah, early 50s. And, he was my hero, whatever, my brother, older brother. I have an older sister too. And, I was with him. I took care of him a lot at the end of his life. I moved in there for his last 3 weeks, me and my mom. And so it was pretty emotional. And you think?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's life-changing. I will tell you, what I learned most was all my brother's friends. Like, my brother didn't have a lot of money, but man, he had a lot of friends. He had all these people. His living room was small, but just filled with his friends. I learned a lot about that. So I kind of start reaching out to my friends. I like my friends more, if that makes sense. Like, they're more important.
Appreciated them more.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's true. And then just watching him, die so young, I was like, okay, it's time, girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time to do what you want.
If he was around today, would he be attending your shows?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
He would be so proud.
Yeah.
Him and I used to go back and forth, and I could make him laugh real easy. Oh yeah, he would be thrilled.
That's great. That's
He really
awesome.
would, yeah.
Well, you know what? He's probably still watching.
Yeah, I hope so. And before I go on stage, I say a little prayer to my mom, who knew I did comedy. So I always do this little, sometimes I throw on my brother and my dad, like, come on, help me out here.
And also apologize in advance.
Yes. I'm sorry for the bad words.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough set, just so you know.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Yeah. So you lost your brother.
Yep.
And then how soon did it take you to sign up for Bill Bouchard's class at the Comedy Castle?
Oh, quite a while. God, I can't remember. Yeah, like 4 or 5 years maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long were you wanting to do that? Was it kind of, I'm going to sign up for the class and you signed up right away, or was it kind of playing in your head for a year or two?
Oh no, Bill probably wouldn't remember this, but I would message him and say, okay, how much and da 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 or whatever we did back then. And I remember him saying, just sign up. I mean, he didn't know me. Of course, he's trying to make money. So.
Right.
Wasn't like Peggy. But yeah, I maybe contacted, Mark Ridley's like twice, I think. Never followed through. You know, as a mom with kids and stuff like that. So then when my kids got older and Dean and I went through some shit, and that's partly why I got out for a little while. But anyways, so I remember taking Bill's first class and calling my oldest son and like all emotional, like this is what I should be doing.
Really?
Yeah, I remember that really, really well.
Now, you weren't intimidated at all as a female signing up for that class? Because when I think of stand-up comedy, you usually think of male comedians. And as time goes on, we see more female comedians out there. But did you feel like that's where you belonged, or did you feel that it might be a little bit of an uphill battle being a female?
Nah, I never thought about that.
No, just went for it, eh?
Yeah, I mean, come on, there's Roseanne, Joan,
Rivers.
Yeah, Joan Rivers. There's all kinds of female comedians. That never even entered my mind, to be honest with you.
So you had your first class and you knew right away you were hooked.
I knew I was hooked, yeah.
And
even though I didn't do well, but it was... You and I weren't in the same class. We were in different classes.
I think we all started, it was on a Wednesday or a Saturday.
I started on a Saturday.
And did you go to the Wednesday class?
I don't know. I think you came to the Saturday class because that's how we met.
Yeah, because I think it was all supposed to be all at once, and then so many people had signed up, so we kind of split it, and some people did during the week and some people did Saturday, and I think most of my classes were on the Saturday.
Yeah, because at first you weren't, and then you were in our class, and that's when you met Lonnie, me. Yeah.
Yeah, I met Lonnie on the actual graduation night.
Oh, you did?
I think so. Yeah, because you know how Lonnie is. He's so straight-faced with stuff.
Yes.
And he comes up and
he's very warm.
Yeah. Very successful real estate agent, though, which I don't understand. But typical Lonnie's got the straight face, and he comes up and he goes, "You're the one with the Facebook group, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you put me in there?" I go, "Sure." that was my first conversation I remember having with Lonnie. But,
you were shaking. Oh, okay.
You looking for a house? Here's my card. No. But yeah, I found the class was great.
Me too, yeah.
You know, I think it's such a great club to perform at.
Oh, it's the best.
And you know, people talk about like the smells of different clubs, and Comedy Castle kind of has that smell, and it puts a smile on your face when you walk in there, whether you're performing or going there to see other people perform.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
So what did you take away from the class?
That it's a lot harder than... I mean, it's hard. Yeah. What did we have, 5 minutes or 7 minutes? I can't remember. Oh, that night, I was a wreck.
Really?
In the showcase, yeah. I sucked too. It was terrible.
Did you?
Well, I felt like I did. Because one thing that Bill should tell people is bring water up there.
Oh. Because
you're so nervous you get that cotton mouth, you know? And oh my God, I was like, it was terrible. So right in the middle of it, and then I kept thinking about that. So that was rough. Yeah. But I still did it. And I was happy I did it.
And then how long did it take you to go on after that?
Well, you know Joel?
Yep.
Joel was dating...
Joel who?
Joel...
I want you to say his last name, Peggy.
Fragameni. Shut up! Joel, the guy at Ridley's. Fragameni. How do you say it?
Sure.
All right, sorry, Joel. He don't care. Anyways, Joel told his girlfriend then, oh my God,
Heather,
who was in charge of Laugh Riot Dolls, which was really cool, about me, which I was surprised because I didn't do that well at the showcase, I didn't think. And then I performed there and got $25 right
Nice.
away.
That's
It was
great.
awesome. Yeah.
You got money last night.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. I think I gave you $1.
Yeah. Is this a compliment or not? $1?
And he's a drag queen. And he goes, I'm a drag queen, like he wasn't drag queening that night. He goes, so here's a tip for you. And I look at the dollar. I'm like, well, you must suck at drag queen. He might even be listening to this because he said he was going to follow me. He was really nice, so. And he was great audience.
So you have to bring him on as a guest.
I should. That would be cool.
That would be
Tell
fun.
him to bring more than $1.
Just when he gets here, give him like half a glass of used water.
Yeah.
There you go.
Here's your $1, fucker.
Yeah. So what was your goal with comedy? I know you wanted to perform. You felt like it's something you should be doing. Did you want to just perform at local clubs? Did you have the dream of making it on stage, like a big stage, having a Netflix special, or something along those lines? Like, did you even know, or you just wanted?
I didn't even know. I know now, but back then I didn't know. I just, wanted to get funnier and be able to write. Writing is such a bitch.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, just get funnier and see where it goes. But yeah.
So how do you come up with your material?
Well, everyday life, stuff like that. What drives me nuts, what annoys me, what makes me laugh, all kinds of stuff.
So it's more, so you don't purposely sit down and write, you will something kind of triggers you, or it makes you laugh, or kind of upsets you, and then you have that thought in your head and kind of maybe then sit down and work with it?
Yeah, let me give you an example. Like, I noticed from conversations with other women my age that men get a little crabby when they get older. That's saying it mildly. Mildly. And so me and my sister-in-law are talking and, talking shit. And so she's like, man, you got to write that, because I'm, going off. And she goes, you got to write this down. And you should start doing, yeah, you're right. So I start writing stuff down. So then, I started doing the list thing, like crabby and then mean, period, like everything that comes to your mind, and then trying to tie that into a joke. So that's kind of working for me a little bit, but I'm still struggling. I got like 4 premises that I really like that I just can't seem to nail it down. But I've always had problems with that.
But it's part of the process too,
Yeah,
though,
I know.
right?
And it's fun. It really is fun. Especially when the little part works, So, and then I just started, I talked about it before, like I start doing it in my living room and saying it out loud, because that's what Mark Norman does. I love Mark Norman. And so I start doing it out loud, and then all of a sudden things start jumping in your head, and it seems to work. So
I know that's how I used to prepare. I actually went out and bought one of those, I think you can get them at Costco, the microphone,
yeah,
the mic stand, and the speaker. And I would just put the speaker, the mic in the mic stand, and just stand and practice with that. It wasn't even plugged in, but just to get used to holding the microphone.
I do that. I have one too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Because I used to find, like when I started out, like when we started out, I would see people get up on stage and take the mic out of the mic stand and walk around with it. And I couldn't believe, like, how do you have the courage to do something like that? Because I think I did well over 30 shows before I had the confidence to take the mic out of the stand.
Really? I didn't even notice that.
Oh, for sure. And I would see people starting out in class before the graduation show, going up there taking a mic out, and I was just mesmerized by how they could do that. And I could never do that. It took me so long, and I ended up buying a microphone like that just to practice.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah. Well,
I did that right off the bat.
Really?
Yeah, I think I did. I don't know, maybe not.
So when you look at the comedy circuit,
Yeah.
is there somebody, some comedian you follow? Like who, if I said, Peggy, I can make this happen, what comedian would you like to open for? Who would that comedian be?
There's a few. Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, Jessica Kirsten. Kirsten, did I say her name right? You don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, that's about it. I mean, I would anybody, but those three, I think she's so funny, and these two guys are incredible.
And what about them attracts you to their style?
Well, Jessica, she's just like brutal, and she's makes fun of herself, and she does this weird thing that she turns around, puts her back to the audience, and then she talks to herself, how she's stupid, and or like she's talking herself through stuff right on stage. It's hilarious. Me and my sister-in-law went and saw her. She was so good. I would love to open for her.
Really?
Yeah, and I met her, and she was nice, which makes it better. I said, "You're about to blow up." She goes, "I am." She was so cool. "I am. I feel it." And then Shane Gillis, probably because, I don't know, just their style, and Mark Norman, just his weirdness, and I don't know. They just make me laugh, basically.
With Shane, the first video I saw of him was talking about the Special Olympics.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
And I watched that and I couldn't stop laughing. I'm thinking, who is this guy? But such a good comedian, and the way he wrote that joke is, I think, is simply amazing. One of those things you see him do something, and like I guess with any comedians that are really successful, they come up with a joke and it's like, how do they get there?
Yeah.
And it's just, I always try and reverse engineer everything. Like, one of my favorite comedians is Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He's for me probably my favorite right now, and he'll talk about some really tough subjects, and you end up laughing, but then you think, like, how did he take such a serious topic, make it funny, but I don't know if a teachable moment is a proper term, but it makes you really think about what's going on.
Yeah, he's so good at that.
Yeah, and you're taking, I think, value, like, I don't want to say it's life-changing, but in a way, it just kind of opens up your eyes to some things you might not be thinking of on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes off in this whole big thing and makes a joke about it, and you laugh, and then you leave that show, or you finish that Netflix special, or wherever you saw him, and you think, you know what, I have a different point of view on something now.
Yeah, it's true.
For me, anyhow.
Yeah. Like, where he's at, but he's not like, I don't know what, like, when someone's pounding their point, it's like, he's not like that. And he's inclusive.
He's not being annoying.
Yeah, he's not being annoying. He's inclusive, and he's not being arrogant. He's just like, I don't know. He's brilliant. He really is.
So what's your next goal with comedy?
Well, I'd like to get 20 minutes, good 20 minutes. I'm really weird about my time. I mean, I have 20 minutes, but I don't think I have solid 20 minutes. A lot of people say, I got 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'm like, I don't know. So I did what Joel and Bill and what I've read is to get 5-10 minutes solid, and then keep adding. So that's what I did this time. So last time when I did comedy, I just kept trying new stuff, and then I never got the good 10 minutes. I didn't think. So I feel like this time I'm doing it right. And I feel good about, but the challenge is slipping in the new stuff.
Right.
So, and open mics are difficult, except for that Windsor one was awesome. But they're difficult because they're not regular, audiences. It's all comedians. But, that's what I'm trying to do. So I'd like to get a solid 20, and then and then go from there.
But it sounds like you probably have the 20 minutes, but just not at the quality you want.
Right.
Is that
that's
fair
exactly
to say?
It. Yeah.
And that's good. And you know what? I think that's a good way of looking at it, because it just, if you're overconfident, and I'm not saying you personally, but some people might be, like you said, I have the 20 minutes, and the quality's not there, but they're good with it. But if you don't think it's a quality 20 minutes, or I don't want to say you're hard on yourself, but you're always pushing to make it better, that's what's going to make you a better comedian.
Yeah,
always
that's
that
what
struggle.
I'm hoping. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would like to learn how to do more crowd work. Can you hear Dean laughing?
Oh, I can hear him up
Yeah.
there. Is he still in the bathtub? I don't know what's going on. I heard some giggling. I saw the cat run by. Something's going on
It's
upstairs.
crazy up there.
Pizza delivery 20 minutes. I bet it's for us. I haven't seen anything. Nobody's
You're
come down
starving.
with pizza.
Sorry. I'm a terrible host. But yeah,
The delivery guy hasn't left yet. I don't know what's going on.
Dean's very friendly.
Yeah. Don't tell Dean about this until after I leave.
Right. Or you won't get any pizza. But yeah, I'd really like to learn to do crowd work. Holy shit, that's so. I'm doing it a little bit, but I'm nervous about it. I mean, I would never bring anything up yet. Like, you know how some people get up and go, hey, what is your birthday? I'd be like, fuck, I'm not doing that. I'm not opening that can of worms.
But sometimes it's good. Like, I think one of the masters of that locally is Bill Bouchard.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill, I know we mentioned his name a couple times. He does the intro to comedy class at the Comedy Castle.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody who's ever had the drive or the goal or the ambition to get into stand-up comedy, I mean, fair to say you'd highly recommend him.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's a great starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't want to take comedy classes, if you want to see somebody funny, go watch him when he's performing. And the crowd work he does, I wish I had 25% of his talent.
I know.
And he's just amazing. And he goes after people in the audience, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
And I've seen him do it numerous times, and it makes me laugh every time I see it. But I forget where I was going with that. Also, crowd work.
Yeah.
How come? Just because you want more of an interaction with the crowd?
Well, I think it would be fun. You know, I think it would be fun, or if I, fill time too. And but it would be, when I go up, this is another thing I do different this time. I was telling somebody this. I can't remember who. So when I go up, I look at the audience as my friends, my people that are there to laugh at me. They're not my enemies. Sometimes you get that, they're going to laugh, or I change my whole thing on that. And if they don't laugh, I'm not blaming them, I'm going to blame me. Even though we know sometimes the audience are dicks. But, so, I would like to be able to, just feed, work with them, have fun with them. It just looks like a lot of fun. I don't think I'm quick enough or clever enough to, like, let me give you an example of what happened the other night. I was up north, and I have my eating ass joke. So,
Yes.
Yeah. What do you call, because I compare it to first base, second base. What base is eating ass? And this guy yells out, my punchline is behind the dugout, and the guy yelled out behind the dugout. I didn't even, come up with anything. I was so mad at myself. I could have said a bunch of shit, but I was so surprised he said that. I was like, yeah, you did, that's right. I was all happy. I'm like, what are you, idiot? You should have, why didn't you work on that? So that really, but that's part of learning, I guess. But I get off stage, my friend Ree, I'm like, God damn it, why didn't I see? Out of the whole set, that's bugging me that I didn't, there's all kinds of shit I could have said to this guy.
That's funny.
When you hang out behind the guy, but last night I did a little bit more, with the audience, but.
So, having said that, what's going to be your process to start interacting with the crowd?
Well, I have a show now that I MC, like a monthly show, so I'm really going to try to work on doing that. Just because what am I going to do my same jokes every week or every month? So it's like forcing me to do it. So.
And it's a great opportunity.
It really is.
When you're running a show to work on all that new material, even if you slip something in between.
And I have.
Comedians and.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, I just belched. Thanks for pointing that out, Kat.
Smells like rotten grapes.
It's not rotten.
White and red. I don't know why. So, now you're doing podcasting.
Yes.
What made you get into that?
I don't know, just trying to promote myself, I guess, trying to get my name out there. I mean, I would like to make some money at it. I retired. I mean, I did this before I retired, but so I had some extra money. I was going to buy a Honda Ruckus. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a little mini bike, not a mini bike, like a small motorcycle thing. It's kind of fun. So I was going to buy it. I put a deposit down, and then my nephew's selling all this equipment used at a good price. And I'm like, So I kept putting it off, and then finally I went, yeah, I canceled that and bought the equipment and learned how to do everything, and voila.
It's a nice setup. I like it. You
Thank
got the
you.
studio lights down here. We're on camera up there. Rode microphone over there.
Yeah, I got a good mic. I gotta upgrade the video. I never use the video because my freaking phone is always storaged out, and so like with Justin Pettick, we're in the middle of it. He's all excited because he's on video, and all of a sudden there's a thing up there. Your storage is, and it stopped.
Oh no.
And I can tell he was disappointed, and I'm like, well, sorry. So I edited it and used part of it as our promo.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yesterday's I didn't even bother with it. But then today I cleared everything out. So, yeah, it's a challenge.
So how many episodes do you have now, do you think?
Geez, I should have known you'd ask me that. I think.
It's got to be 20 at least.
Oh, at least. Oh yeah, I'm in the 50s, I think.
Are you?
Yeah, I think so.
I've listened to all 50. I do listen to the majority of them. The last one I listened to of yours was when you were interviewing your son.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Great episode, and the reason why he doesn't come and see you at shows.
Who told me to ask him that?
I just thought it would be funny, but
he kind of shit the bed. He wasn't happy.
He wasn't?
No, couldn't you tell?
Well, I didn't see the video, but I heard him talking. I thought he was just kind of maybe backpedaling out of the question.
You should have seen his face. Like, are you kidding me? You could tell his face is like, fuck. Because you know why.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear it.
So you got the podcast going, and what was your intention with the podcast? You talked about
money,
and getting your name out there.
Getting my name and all that stuff.
But you wanted to do a podcast with comedians because you have talked about a couple different.
Yeah, I just like
topics.
Interesting people. That's really it. I mean, I like comedians, of course, but. Like I got a guy named Bill Barnwell. I think I've mentioned it. He's not only a defensive lawyer, one of the best in Michigan. He also is a preacher, which is kind of cool, in Royal Oak, I don't know, Royal Oak Church or whatever. And he's funny too. He did stand up and stuff like that. So I just find him interesting. So I'm going to interview him and. That's it.
So do you find it difficult to have guests on your show? Do you have to talk people into being a guest? Because I'm sure you meet a lot of interesting people, but probably not all people are comfortable doing something like this.
Yeah, I've asked people and they said no. Or they say, well, let me think about it, and then I don't hear from them. But most people, if they got a good story, they want to tell it,
Have you had people say no and then later on change their mind and you do an episode with them?
Not yet.
Really?
No.
It is a weird thing. It's one thing to have a conversation with somebody, but for a lot of people, as soon as you put a microphone or a camera in front of them, people naturally freeze up.
Yeah.
So, it's nice that you have so many. It seems like you always have an unlimited guests because we'll have, you and I keep in touch. And it seems like you're always having an upcoming episode, and you're never really struggling to find anybody. And you do have interesting guests on the show.
Well, if you can't find, you can always call a comic.
Right?
You really can. And then I've done with my, episodes with my husband. That's been a while, but to be honest with you, those are my biggest episodes.
Okay. With you and Dean?
Yeah, not biggest, but pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest episode was probably Kevin Wheeler and
Okay.
my brother-in-law Leo. But it's mostly those kind of people that aren't normally in the limelight, and everybody wants to hear them, so they share it. Where comedians, they don't share it, and that's a little frustrating.
I think you've had Kevin on the show
Twice.
a couple times now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
And I know he pops up to Detroit every so often, and he'll reach out, and I know I got to get together with him at some point.
He was just here, I think. I don't know if he's like over the podcast stuff or not. Usually lets me know, but I'd have him on again in a heartbeat.
Well, he's a great
awesome.
guest.
Yeah.
He's a great guest. So, what's next for Peggy?
Well, I would like to get on Ridley's. I would like to get on One Night Stands.
Have you done one night stands?
No, trying.
Where's that at?
It's in Waterford.
Okay.
With Mike Green. I've sent him stuff, but I've heard it's difficult. I think I'm just going to go there and just hey, hi, it's me. I'd like to, so that's, I've only been back again maybe 2 years now. No, it hasn't. It'll be 2 years in February. So I feel pretty good about what I've done so far.
Well, when you got back into it, and we talked about this,
Yeah.
I'm just going to do it maybe once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks. But you kind of, pretty quickly, I would say, really dived back into it.
Yeah.
Dived? You know what I'm talking about.
Dive, yeah.
Dove? No, I don't know. I'm just ignoring what I'm saying. But you know what I mean. But you kind of really got into it pretty quickly and really stepped up your writing. You're writing a lot more. You're getting up there on stage more. And I remember you saying in one conversation, this time you're enjoying it more.
Oh, so much better. The first time it just was such a struggle. I don't know. I was in a bad place. Lost our house, all that shit. I don't know if maybe my timing wasn't good. I'm glad I had that time because you still use some of those jokes, except for the one that you always tell me to use.
You should use it.
No, I hate it.
It's one of my favorites.
And I did use it one time and it didn't do well.
Really?
Yeah, my heart probably wasn't into it, but, this time it just seems so much more fun to me. Maybe because, I feel like my writing is better, and I don't know, it's just way more fun.
So what makes you laugh? Because obviously as a comedian, as a performer, you enjoy the art, and you have to be, if you're going to enjoy performing, you have to be a fan of it, I would think.
Yeah.
What makes you laugh?
Well, God, that's a tough question. I wish I could, when I write, throw people off. That's what makes me laugh. When you don't know what the guy's going to say. Mark Norman's good for that. You think he's going to say taco, but he says mashed potatoes. You know what I mean?
Right.
That makes me laugh. I wish I could do voices better, be character, stuff like that. That makes me laugh. Shane Gillis does, Trump, and that's funny, but...
He's got a great Trump impersonation.
I know, he's so good at that. What makes me laugh? I don't know. I said last night, or at last podcast, fat ladies that fall make me laugh. I like dark humor.
Yeah.
I even like dark humor as long as it's funny that I'm offended by, if that makes sense.
You used to be for a while a big fan of wheelchair humor. I never even knew that as a category, but I remember you couldn't get enough of that.
Me?
Yeah.
Yep. Wheelchair humor.
Can I get this broomstick in the spokes? Peggy, relax a little bit.
Please stop it. Leave her alone.
She's 90 and she's trying to nap. made her spill her porridge.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Granny. I probably would laugh, though. But yeah, that I don't know, just makes, that kind of shit makes me laugh.
You know who Dave Attell is?
Oh, God, yes. I saw him. That's who you want to open for.
Oh, yeah. I had emailed Mark Ridley, and I said, I know Dave Attell is coming back to the club, and just want to let you know I'm available for whenever he's coming back to the club. And he was the guy that kind of motivated me. He had a couple different shows on. One of the shows was, I think, called Insomnia. And he would travel every episode to a different city, and go check out different jobs. It might be like a water treatment plant, and then the second half is him partying in the local city. And I just thought he was so funny, and I would watch his specials, and I thought, oh, I would love to be like him. And then I got to meet him at the Comedy Castle, and I told him, I said, Dave, you're the reason why I got into comedy, and you inspired me to do it. And he just looked at me and he goes, well, hopefully you'll find more success than me.
Did he really?
With a straight face, yeah.
Well, they say he's really humble.
Yeah, and he's kind of like
He
the
might have
comedian's
been
comedian.
serious.
Well, I think he was just being sarcastic
Yeah.
or whatever, but, you know, he's people love his stuff, and then it seems like people in the industry really respect him too.
Yeah, they love him.
Yeah. So that was my goal. That would complete my comedy career if I had that opportunity to MC for him. And then, do you know Brody Stevens?
Is that the guy who sent me his stuff? No.
He passed away about, she's got to be 4 or 5 years ago now.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I know who he is.
And Lonnie, Margie, and I went to the Outlaw Comedy Festival, and he was up on the B stage, and I've never seen him before. And this guy who's emceeing gets off the stage, starts interacting with the crowd. I've never seen anybody do anything like that before. And he's going around guessing people's careers, and he is just hitting it. Like he's,
Really?
oh yeah. And I'm standing next to Lonnie, walks past me, says hi to me, stands in front of Lonnie, and again, you know how Lonnie is. Straight face. Lonnie's got his sunglasses on, his arms crossed, across his chest.
He looks like the FBI.
And he walks up, he goes, let me guess, sales. And Lonnie doesn't say anything, he just kind of nods his head. Real estate. Lonnie nods his head. I got it. And then he was so good with stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And I remember him walking on the other side of the crowd. He walks up to this young kid, and he's like, what do you want to do when you're older? And the kid says, I want to be a stand-up comedian like you. You should do it. So years go by, and I can't think of the guy, but we've performed with him. And
The kid?
The kid performed. We've performed with him on some different shows, open mic shows. And I remember that's how I found out about Brody Stevens passing away. He wrote this whole big thing about Brody Stevens passing away. And what happened was he had talked about going to the Oddball Comedy Festival, wanted to be a comedian. Brody Stevens had that conversation. That kid that we saw, I actually saw that interaction. So Brody Stevens said, you should do it. And this kid says, that's what made me go and perform or get into comedy. He did it. Was a huge fan of Brody Stevens. Found out Brody Stevens was going to come to Detroit to perform again. Emailed Brody Stevens and said, hey, you're the one that inspired me to be a comedian. Is there any way I can open up for you in the show? And Brody Stevens is like, yeah, sure.
Oh, wow.
So how cool is that?
I wish you could remember his name. The kid's name.
I don't want to say his name because I think I know who it is, but I could be wrong.
Well then tell me later.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought, like, what a full circle. Yeah,
Wow,
how cool is
how
that?
cool is that?
To be inspired and then to reach out to that comedian. The comedian's like, yeah, I'll put you on. But the thing I regret, and this is kind of going back to what you're talking about with your brother, like, you know, living your life and doing things, and I don't want to say taking advantage of the moment, but I guess it is.
Mm.
But I was such a fan of his show and his personality, and then he went on to become, or emceed on the main stage later on that night. And I waited around until after the show, and I just wanted to go up and shake his hand and say, "Hey, man, like you were amazing. You were awesome." And had a quick 30-second, 60-second conversation with him, and have a great night. And I turn around and I start walking away, and Margie says, "Hey, do you want to get a picture taken? You want to get your picture taken with him?" I'm like, "Nah, it's fine." And then I really started following his shows and what he was putting out there, his career, and I just always told myself, the next time that guy comes to Detroit, I'm gonna get my picture taken with him because he's one of my favorite comedians. And then I remember reading that kid's post about Brody Stevens passing away, thinking, I'm never gonna get that picture.
Yeah.
And it made me realize, like, you never know, like, friends and family, you have to make sure you appreciate them now, because they might be with you for another 20 years, or something can happen a week or 2 weeks later, right?
So true.
Yeah. Did I just bring the show down?
Yeah, you really did.
Oh.
Thanks.
Now you know why I got out.
You sucked.
It's time for one of these.
So let me tell you about when I met Mark Norman.
Okay.
At the Comedy Castle. So my goal is I always look at who's coming and who I think is going to blow up, and I'm pretty good at
Is this a sponsor for today's show?
No.
Okay. Is this the one that's kind of in question, or no?
No.
I don't know.
It's not a Bud Light. It's Miller.
It's not from the same company, though?
Oh, probably. I don't know. I can't keep track.
Oh, jeez.
I don't care.
I do. In a good way. I'm going to watch myself.
So, what was I saying? Oh, I met Mark Norman. I was with my son, and I think Dean too, and he killed at Mark Ridley's, and so Corey's there, and Corey's got a full beard and everything, and he says to Corey, "Wow!" And Corey's taking a picture of me with Mark, and he says, "Man, nice beard." And I said, "Yeah, that's my son." And he goes, "Oh, wow. Oh, fuck, how did this go? Nice mom." And I said, "I wish she was my mom." And I go, "I wish I was your mom, too." Right in front of Corey. It was so funny. And I made him laugh. "Oh, I wish you were my son, too." It was so funny. He was so nice.
Was he?
Yeah. I got to tell you, I took my nephew to see, oh, geez, now I can't remember his name. Anyways, he didn't do a meet and greet.
Oh, really?
He had to pay for it. Fuck you.
Really?
Hey, Ridley's, come on. I mean, everybody likes him. I wish I could remember his name. He's got like oh, God. Joel interviewed him. He's there every year.
Oh, really?
And I can't remember his name, which maybe is a good thing. So he didn't, it was my nephew's. He just turned 18. I brought him for his birthday. Would have been cool if I could get a picture of him, because this is my thing, my comedy, kind of a bonding thing with my nephew. And I was so mad that he didn't do a meet and greet.
Really?
And then I heard that he did come out later, and I was like, oh, well.
I think, like Dave Attell, I've gone to see him twice at the Comedy Castle, and both times he came out and mingled with everybody, which I think is so cool. Yeah, to meet somebody you've seen on stage or on TV. Do you remember John Heffron?
Yeah.
Same thing. I've seen him a couple times at the Comedy Club. Actually, the first time I saw him was on an open mic night on a Wednesday, and I think, wasn't he the original winner of, or he won,
To LA? Detroit to LA?
no, shoot, it was a reality show for comedians.
Oh, yeah.
Last Comic Standing.
Yeah.
I think he won season 1.
Oh.
So, open mic night, I wasn't doing comedy at the time, this is before I got into it, and just bringing out local comic, and then the MC says, we have a special guest coming out. John Heffron just won Last Comic Standing, and I think he was leaving the next day to go be on Leno or Letterman. And he comes out, and the only thing I remember is him talking about something about now that he's married, his wife drags him out everywhere. Now he finds himself looking at drapes, looking at wallpaper, and the whole time his wife's talking about stuff. He's wondering what his friends are doing. And he did 5 or 6 minutes, whatever it was, and I laughed nonstop through his whole set. Just an amazing comedian. But then he came out and talked to everybody later on, and what a super friendly, down to earth guy.
Nice.
So I see what you mean. Like, it's
Yeah.
nice to have those, to have that contact with those people, especially if you respect them and you look up to them.
Oh, and by the way, Dave Landau, oh, he's another guy I would love to open for. So I love Dave Landau. I've seen him twice. I was there for his special. He's got a special out. And I went through all my paperwork from years ago, and I did an open mic, and I hosted, and he was on there, and I don't remember him.
You brought him out on stage?
I brought him out on stage. I took a picture. I sent it to Dean. I'm like, oh my God, I don't remember him at all. He must have sucked. Dave, you sucked.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I thought I'd throw that in. But
You got to get him on the podcast.
oh yeah, that'll happen. He's kind of big now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The other cool guy was Tom Arnold, Roseanne's.
Yeah, I heard he's really nice.
Super nice guy. And the thing I was impressed about when he was talking is he talked about Roseanne, talked about some of the negative stuff that happened, but was so respectful of her, saying, I've had my struggles, and, her and I we didn't always see eye to eye on stuff, but, she always had my back and was always so supportive, and but just great. And then he mingled with everybody afterwards, and
That's cool.
yeah. And then I've tweeted twice in my life. I just don't use social media like that. And one of the tweets was about the show, and he retweeted it, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, I screenshot it. I have it on my phone somewhere, one of my old phones. But yeah, it's nice. And then you know what? When those comedians do that, kind of like any celebrity, I guess, you kind of you have a new fan now, or that fan appreciates you more, and you have that connection. So.
Yeah, I agree. Well, sometimes Dave Landau, like, one time he made fun of my hair. It was funny because he used to have a mohawk, and I said something on his Facebook about the mohawk, like I made fun of him. And he said, "You're just jealous because we have the same barber or something." It was so funny. I was so excited that he said that. I was like, oh my God, that's awesome. Where are we? Oh, sorry. Oh, we're at 52 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we were like 20 minutes, half an hour in. We had some deep conversations.
Yeah.
So what, now that I got this open, what flag was Dean looking at putting out on the front lawn? We had a brief conversation upstairs about that.
Flag?
Yeah, he said, talking about, because he got that flagpole he bought off Amazon. And that flag, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm not repeating.
What is he? I haven't seen the delivery guy leave yet. And I haven't heard any giggling. All I saw was a piece of crust fall down the stairs.
Well, it's just less I have to do up there.
Oh.
Thank you, UPS.
Dean's in his glory because pizza keeps on showing up, but he doesn't realize it's Peggy ordering it for him.
Yeah.
Peggy, you want to come to bed early tonight? No, I got to do some stuff downstairs, but... And then you...
Here comes the pizza boy. Put your flag out.
So Dean's got a podcast.
Yes.
Right? So obviously you wore off on him somehow.
Yeah, but he's getting back into it. He's been, well, I retired, so he's been working a boatload. I said, dude, you got to get back in. Yeah, you did a good job.
So are some of his episodes better than yours?
Yeah.
Really? And does that cause issues?
Uh-huh.
Like, you kind of just look at him across the table at breakfast and you're like, you son of a...
fucker. Like if he's got an episode that does really well, I'm like, are you kidding me? Happens a lot.
But you do all the post-production of that,
I
don't you?
do all of it.
You should add in like some belching and just like...
I should. And in the background, you suck. But yeah, I do the producing. I think when he starts back, I think we're gonna tag team it. Because he gets really nervous. And,
really?
Yeah, he gets real nervous, and well, he's not an entertainer. And I think he does a great job. But
I've listened to a handful of his episodes, and to me, he sounds like a natural. And he usually has 2 or 3 other people on the show at least, and it just sounds like bunch of guys maybe having a beer, having a
Yeah,
cigar,
that's what it's supposed to sound like.
talking,
Yeah.
and it sounds great. And I don't ever recall ever picking up on him being nervous at
Yeah.
all. It sounds like a natural, and
That's what I say. I think he does great.
yeah,
I mean, if you talk about cars, he can just he knows his cars, and he loves them, and you could tell it, and it's all car guys. That's the whole idea of his show, is to be like being in the garage drinking beer.
okay.
But yeah, he's gotta get back in.
And you two, when he's been on this podcast, it's a great banter between
Yeah,
the
I
two
love
of you.
it. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
And it's weird too. And I know it's like this with social media. Like you'll see, maybe you follow your favorite celebrity, and it's kind of one of those things where you feel like you know the person because they're letting you in on their life. But you and I didn't see each other for a few years because of the whole border issue. But when I hear you, it's almost kind of like that I was hanging out with you.
Yeah,
Which was nice. Like I get to hear how Peggy's doing, what she's been up to, and stuff like that. And it brought me back to when you and I were both performing together and doing shows. And
yeah, we had fun.
oh, we had fun. We had some interesting shows.
Yes.
Like anybody doing this does. But
God, remember, I would get off stage and I would say, Ken, what'd you think of this part of my? And he would be like, I didn't listen.
And I feel horrible because I did try, and I would, but I would forget.
Well, because if you followed me, you'd be thinking about your own shit, or you didn't care.
Well, no, but because, and then there's times like, hey, listen, like tonight I really need you to listen. I'm like, okay, I will. And then sure enough, like I think I hear you, but it just drops out of my mind right away.
It's the female voice.
It's just
You block it.
maybe I was focused on my thing. I don't know, but I always enjoyed performing because of the actual performance, but also the conversations before.
Yeah.
Like when you get to the show and,
Yeah.
and the nervousness, or I'm going to try this, or what do you think about this? And I miss all those conversations. And then, the conversations after the show, it went better than I thought, or how many times we had conversations, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Drove out and it didn't go as well as we thought it would, but I don't regret any of it.
Good. I don't either. How about when we did Leo's? Me, Lonnie, and you? You killed, I remember. And I remember that was my first real laugh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like real laugh. And I remember before I went up, Lonnie looks at me, he goes, slow the fuck down. I remember him saying that. He's like, look at me right, and he doesn't look people in the eye. And I was like, okay. And so I slowed down. I don't even remember. I did my Spanx thing, but
Yeah. Which joke? How does that joke go?
I'm not saying.
I'm going to get you to pull it out of retirement.
My sister hates that joke. Too.
Really?
Yeah. I hate that joke. Anyways, so that night was one of the most memorable nights. Well, it was and it snowed. I don't know if you remember that. It was a shitty night, and we all three did pretty good. And I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah. I had, surprisingly, our graduation show. It went way better than I thought.
Yeah, you did good.
And I don't know how the stars aligned, whatever it was, but I remember coming out after the show into the crowd, and I had people coming up to me, man, that was a great show. You're so funny. And girls and more girls coming up to me. And then we're all standing outside, and girls are walking by. Oh, I loved your stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have a girlfriend in no time. And since then, it's been downhill. So
10 years later.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking, this is great. Like, this is my first night doing comedy, and I'm doing this well. And then it was just like a steady decline since then. But
that's not true.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, but like
at Leo's, he said you could go up anytime. You did really well there.
He is
because he's not doing it anymore, which is a drag.
Yeah, I wish he would.
Yeah.
He was great. He was great for local comedians because where else could you go up on a Friday or a Saturday in front of anywhere from 50 to a couple hundred people, and just so supportive. But he was great, and he gave me so many opportunities to MC for him, and he would always get me with. I always had to pretend like I didn't know he was gonna say it, but I would MC, and then I'd introduce him out, and then he'd come out and he'd be like, "Hey, give it up for Ken Harris, isn't he funny?" And the crowd would applaud. And he's a homosexual, and the crowd would laugh. And then he'd go, "I'm just kidding. He's not funny." I don't know how many times I heard that joke, but every time he would say it, it would just always make me laugh. But just so welcoming, and just him and his wife Diane were just, and still are just great people. But yeah, a fun place to perform for sure.
He brought me out in the hall too and talked to me. I remember that.
Did he?
Yeah, encouraging me like, "You got something, I'm telling you." And it was, my jokes weren't great, and he just like, "Man, I'm telling you, you should keep it up." Of course, I didn't listen because I quit, but I would like him to see me now. He probably doesn't remember me, but it was very encouraging. It was one of the, greatest nights of my life, really.
Yeah.
Because it was affirmation that I can make people laugh. Like, I don't affirmation? That's not right.
I just nodded and agreed with you. It sounded good. You had me until you questioned it.
Yeah, I'm very intelligent.
That's what I was thinking. I'm thinking like, wow, she really is intelligent. Like, I don't know what that word means, but it must be. It's got to be used properly because she said it with such confidence. And you just gave me the look. I'm like, oh no, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
She doesn't know what she's saying. You're used to that look. She's lost again.
What makes you like one of the things I miss about performing, and I've done it once during a show that I know of, and then once just with some friends, is this might sound kind of inappropriate, but when you get somebody to pee themselves. To me, that's the ultimate compliment from laughing.
I don't think I've ever had.
I've had it happen at a show, and then in person with some friends and stuff like that. And to me, that's the ultimate, because nobody wants to pee themselves.
No.
But if you can get them to laugh so hard.
I think that's my new goal.
Is it?
Yeah.
For sure. It's sad when that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Yeah, it really is sad. Are you getting back in?
I don't know.
Come on. Get back in.
I think about it. We've talked about it. And I liked you, but for me, I just always, I think to perform for me, it's a lot of pressure. And if I'm fortunate enough to have a good show, then the pressure's on to have a good show the next time. And if the show isn't so great, then there's a pressure to make the show good the next time.
You kind of get used to not being great.
I never got used to it.
Like, I followed Josh Adams at New Way. I mean, it's New Way, but oh my God, it was awful.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And I asked to follow him because, it's a challenge. Follow him. He's fucking amazing. Talk about crowd work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Melanie Hearns too, crowd work. Jeez,
Yeah.
They're both so good. And so anyways, I followed him and it was just like, but I've learned to get over it. It's like, oh, well, I've had some good nights. This is a bad night.
Yeah.
It stings, obviously, for 3 days, but...
Right. No sleep.
Right. But, it's what I get. I said I wanted to follow him, and maybe I shouldn't have, but I would do it again.
How do you find performing?
Okay.
What am I doing? How do you find does performing make a difference in your life, or do you notice? Like, I noticed for me when I was performing, I'd have, not that I felt like I didn't have confidence around people, but I felt I had more confidence. And if people found out you did stand-up comedy, it's almost kind of like a respect thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because most people, they say like one of the greatest fears is the fear of public speaking. I think people respect the fact that you get out there and you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that at all, or do you find that at all?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really proud of myself, if that's what you're getting at. I am proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for getting back in. And I think I'm doing better than I did before. And I don't think I'm any more confident than I was. I really don't, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's my, sometimes this thing shorts out.
Oh, okay.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if everybody else heard it.
Deal with it.
I always give myself the shitty headset, but then I forgot that I don't have any other people, so I could have used a good headset. But. All right, sorry. But,
That's right. How long have we been going for?
all right, yeah, we gotta wrap up. Oh yeah, we gotta wrap.
Do we?
Yep, it's over an hour. Shit. Yeah, we gotta wrap quick.
Am I getting overtime after 45 minutes or no?
No.
Should have negotiated this. But, well, listen, I'm glad we got to sit down and do this.
Yeah, me too, man. It was fun.
Hopefully, I think the crowd got a little bit of insight
Yeah, I think so.
on you. And it's just one of those things where I listen to you interview other people. I'm like, well, I want to know more about Peggy. You know, why
Well,
she got
thank
into
you.
it. You know, and I'm glad we did this.
Me too.
Always good seeing you.
You too. I hope you do it again.
Maybe.
I mean, the podcast again. Maybe we
Oh,
could do something together or whatever.
For sure.
We talked about that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to. I don't know. I'm gonna talk to you more about getting into it. One thing I really liked about performing with you and Lonnie as well is just the support and working on jokes and it's part of the just the enjoyment.
Yeah,
you know.
it was fun.
And I know you give me a hard time about not listening, which you should, which you should.
But you listen. I know you do.
But in all fairness, I'll come up with something I think is just absolutely genius. Write it all out, send it to you, and what response do I get from you?
I don't get it.
I don't get it. Not once or twice, every time.
We should end the podcast on that. We should both say, I don't get it.
I don't get it. Every single time. I'm like, yeah, but Peggy, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay, now I get it. I'm like, what?
But if I hear you say it, because you are funny, I'm not good with the reading stuff. Same with my friend Ree. Like, if I hear her say it, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's funny. But when I'm reading it, it just doesn't work.
I think one of the last times I sent you something, I'm like, what do you think? And you're like, well, I'm waiting for the punchline. I'm like, all right, that's it. This is the last time I send you anything.
And I hate you. All right, I think we're done.
Yeah.
We got to be done.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you, Ken.
Well, thanks, Peggy, and thanks for sharing some of Peggy's life and how she got into this. And
Yeah.
we should do this again.
All right,
We
I'm
can
gonna end. I gotta say my Peggy Beattie here somewhere.
Just this time, do it properly.
All
I
right.
mean, it sounded. I need to give you some lessons on how to deliver that line. Just kidding.
All right, I'm out. Peggy